Hello and welcome to Tale Talk English. Today's story is emotional, mysterious, and full of family secrets, trust, grief, and unexpected love. It will also help you improve your English listening and vocabulary through simple conversations and real-life emotions. As you listen, try to imagine every scene, every expression, and every feeling. This is the story of a teenage boy who believed his stepmother was hiding a dangerous secret. I never thought my stepmother was hiding something important, but one quiet night I heard her whisper my name during a secret phone call. What I discovered afterward changed the way I saw her forever. My name is Ryan, and this story began during one of the hardest periods of my life. I was 14 years old when my mother, Grace, passed away after a long illness. Before that, our home had always been full of warmth and happiness. My mother loved reading books, baking cookies, and filling every room with laughter. Even when my father, Thomas, came home exhausted from work, she always knew how to make him smile. When she died, everything changed. The house became painfully quiet. The kitchen that once smelled of fresh bread and coffee felt empty. My father stopped laughing. Most evenings he sat alone in the living room looking through old photographs. Seeing him like that hurt almost as much as losing my mother. For nearly 2 years it was just the two of us. I tried my best to help around the house. I cleaned, cooked simple meals, and focused on school. But no matter how hard I tried, life never felt normal again. One evening, my father called me into the living room. His expression looked serious, which immediately made me nervous. "Ryan," he said, taking a deep breath, "there's something important I need to tell you." I sat down across from him. "I've met someone." At first, I didn't understand. Then I realized what he meant. "A woman?" He nodded. "Her name is Evelyn." My father explained that they had met at a local bookstore. Evelyn managed the store, and they had started talking whenever he visited. Over time, those conversations turned into dinners, and dinners turned into a relationship. I wanted my father to be happy, but hearing this news filled me with mixed emotions. Part of me understood. Another part of me felt guilty, as if accepting someone new would somehow mean forgetting my mother. A few weeks later, I met Evelyn for the first time. She arrived carrying a small box of homemade cookies and greeted me with a warm smile. "It's nice to finally meet you, Ryan," she said kindly. She seemed friendly and genuine, but I kept my guard up. During lunch, she asked about school, my hobbies, and the books I liked. I answered politely, though my responses were short. I wasn't trying to be rude, I simply didn't know how to feel. Over the next several months, Evelyn became a regular part of our lives. She cooked dinner with my father, helped around the house, and slowly brought some happiness back into our home. Then one evening, my father announced that they were getting married. The wedding was small and simple. Afterward, Evelyn officially became my stepmother. Living together wasn't easy at first. Evelyn tried hard to connect with me. Every morning she prepared breakfast. Every afternoon she asked about my day. Every evening she wished me good night. Yet I remained distant. I kept telling myself that no matter how kind she was, she could never replace my mother. As time passed, life settled into a routine. My father looked happier than he had in years, and our home no longer felt quite so empty. Still, I began noticing strange things about Evelyn. Sometimes she received late-night phone calls and stepped outside to answer them. Other times I saw her reading old papers that she quickly hid whenever I entered the room. One afternoon, I arrived home early from school and spotted her speaking with an elderly woman near our front gate. The woman handed her an envelope. When Evelyn noticed me approaching, she slipped it into her bag and quickly ended the conversation. "Who's that?" I asked. "Just an old friend," she replied. The answer felt incomplete. Over the following weeks, my curiosity continued growing. One night, I woke up thirsty and headed toward the kitchen. As I passed Evelyn's study, I noticed light beneath the door. It was slightly open. Inside, Evelyn sat at her desk talking quietly on the phone. "I know, but Ryan isn't ready yet." I froze. Ready for what? Then she said something that made my heart pound. "I promised Grace I would wait until the right time." Grace? My mother? I hurried back to my room before she could notice me. That night, sleep felt impossible. Questions raced through my mind. What promise had she made to my mother? What secret was she hiding? The next morning, I watched Evelyn carefully during breakfast. She seemed completely normal. She laughed with my father and asked about my school project. If she was hiding something important, she showed no sign of it. Days later, an opportunity arrived. My father was at work and Evelyn had gone shopping. I found myself standing outside her study door. I knew I shouldn't enter, but curiosity won. The room was neat and organized. I searched carefully through the desk drawers. Most contained ordinary items, but in the bottom drawer I found a small wooden box. Inside were dozens of photographs. My breath caught. Every picture showed my mother and Evelyn together. They were laughing at birthday parties, standing beside each other at beaches, and smiling during holiday celebrations. I couldn't believe it. They looked like best friends. Beneath the photographs was an envelope. On the front, written in familiar handwriting, was my mother's name. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside was a letter addressed to Evelyn. Before I could begin reading, I heard a car pull into the driveway. Quickly, I returned everything exactly where I found it and rushed into the living room. A few seconds later, Evelyn entered the house carrying groceries. That evening, something unexpected happened. After dinner, she approached me. "Ryan," she said gently, "can we talk?" My stomach tightened. We sat together in the living room. My father was working late, leaving us alone. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then Evelyn sighed. "I think it's time you knew the truth." My heart began racing. She walked to a cabinet and removed a large envelope. Inside were the same photographs I had discovered earlier. "You found these today, didn't you?" she asked softly. I nodded. Instead of looking angry, she simply smiled. "I thought so." She picked up one photograph showing her and my mother standing arm in arm. We were best friends. I stared at her. "You knew my mom?" "Yes," she replied, "for almost 15 years. I could hardly process what I was hearing. Why didn't anyone tell me?" "Because your mother asked me not to." She unfolded the letter. She wrote this shortly before she passed away. As Evelyn read, tears filled my eyes. The letter spoke about love, family, and hope. Most importantly, it contained a request. If anything happened to her, she wanted Evelyn to watch over me and help guide me through life. When Evelyn finished reading, silence filled the room. "Your mother trusted me," she said quietly. "She asked me to be there for you when she no longer could." Suddenly, years of confusion started making sense. The late-night phone calls, the secret meetings, the hidden documents, everything connected to my mother. "What about the phone calls?" I asked. Evelyn smiled. "I was speaking with your Aunt Margaret. We've been planning something for a long time." She reached into the envelope and removed a small package wrapped in blue paper. "This belonged to your mother." I carefully opened it. Inside was a journal. The moment I saw my mother's handwriting, tears blurred my vision. Page after page contained letters she had written for me before she died. Some were meant for birthdays, others were meant for important milestones like graduating school, getting a first job, or falling in love someday. She had created messages for moments she knew she might never see. I sat there crying as I turned each page. For the first time in years, I felt close to her again. "She wanted you to have this when you were old enough," Evelyn explained. "She trusted me to decide when that moment came." I looked at Evelyn differently than I ever had before. All this time I had viewed her as an outsider, but she had been carrying a promise for years, a promise she made to my mother. "I'm sorry," I said quietly. "For what?" "For never trusting you." Evelyn's eyes softened. "Trust takes time, Ryan." That night we talked for hours. She shared stories about my mother that I had never heard before, stories about their adventures, their dreams, and their friendship. Listening to those memories felt like discovering a new part of my mother. Over the following months, our relationship changed completely. I no longer saw Evelyn as someone trying to replace my mother. Instead, I saw her as someone who loved my mother deeply and had spent years honoring her final wish. She continued helping me through difficult moments. She encouraged me when school became challenging. She celebrated my successes and supported me through failures. Slowly, she became an important part of my life. One afternoon, while looking through old photographs together, I realized something important. Family isn't only created through blood. Sometimes it grows through loyalty, sacrifice, and promises kept over many years. Evelyn never replaced my mother, and she never tried to. Instead, she helped keep my mother's memory alive. She reminded me of the values my mother believed in and made sure I never forgot how much I was loved. Looking back now, I understand how wrong I was. The secret I feared wasn't something dangerous. It wasn't a betrayal. It was an act of love. The woman I had suspected for so long had actually been protecting one of the most precious gifts my mother left behind. Sometimes the people we misunderstand the most are the people who care about us the deepest. And sometimes the greatest secrets are not hidden to hurt us, but to protect us until we are ready to understand them. My stepmother's secret changed my life forever. It taught me that love doesn't disappear when someone leaves this world. It continues through memories, promises, and the people who choose to keep those promises alive. And because of Evelyn, I learned that family can be found in unexpected places, sometimes in the very people we are afraid to trust.